Switch Radio Sport. This is Switch.
Worcester City win that game and they will be in Division 1 Midlands next season.
Chance in Paul Job's got chance in the penalty, gets shot in and goes to the back of the net, and Cheyenne Jarvis gets the second goal for Leaford Athletic this afternoon, found space in the 6-yard box.
Back to the edge of the penalty area with the pass, crossing towards the back post, headed goalwards and in!
That's a great shot from Doncaster! Oh, what a save for Gray! And the Red Cube 2-0!
Stourbridge have won the Division 1 Midlands title.
The Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio.
Good evening and welcome along to this week's Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio. My name is Chris Gadsby and we've got a jam-packed show for you this evening. You'll hear from the Sutton Coldfield Town manager Harry Rowe and the Notts County Town manager Adam Dunleavy before 6 o'clock this evening. Plus we've got all of the very latest news from the third and fourth tiers of women's football here in England. That's the FA Women's National League. We've got how the FAWNL has seemingly baffled a large majority of its fan base with a decision this week, and there's one managerial departure and one managerial arrival. All of that then plus the results, the league tables and the fixtures coming up this week on the Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio with you until 6. Yes, this is the Women's Football Chat with you until 6 o'clock here on Switch Radio. Chris Gadsby here with you for the next hour. We're going to start this week, as we always do on this show, with the news. And there's only really one place to start, and that is the decisions for December from the FA Women's National League from 3 charges that were issued in that month. Firstly, unfulfilled fixture. This one's relatively straightforward. AFC Sudbury charged with failing to fulfil their FAWNL Division 1 South East fixture against Chatham Town on Sunday the 21st of December. The board have found that charge unproven. They've deducted a point from AFC Sudbury. They were already in 11th. It's made that a little bit more difficult now. Imposed a £750 fine, of which £250 is suspended, and ordered the game to be replayed. The other game, then we've got 2 abandoned fixtures. The other easy one, fixture between York City and Cheadle Stingers in Division 1 North on the 7th of December was abandoned due to the weather, and that's being replayed in full. Neither side at fault for that, as you would expect. But the other one, and this is the interesting one that's got everybody seemingly up in arms, and you can see it all over the FAWNL's X account, and they haven't helped themselves with this either, is the fixture between Doncaster Rovers Belles and Norton Stockton Ancients in FAWNL Division 1 North on Sunday the 30th of November was abandoned, with the home team, so Doncaster, found to be at fault for the abandonment. Norton Stockton Ancients were winning the fixture 2-1, and the FA board ordered that the result should stand and the points awarded to Norton and Stockton Ancients. Now, when that first came out, made me think, oh, that's an interesting one, because normally when games get abandoned, no matter what stage of the games are at, it gets replayed in full. We have had games in the past which have been in stoppage time, 93, 94 minutes, with one side 2 or 3 goals up, and then there's a serious injury and the game has to be replayed in full. Now, so I did a little bit of digging, and I went back, and the reason that the game was abandoned was due to an injury to goalkeeper Scarlett Slater-Rowley. Now, she collided with an opposition player in the 68th minute in what Doncaster are even calling an accidental knee to the head and neck. That left Scarlett unconscious, with players around the incident immediately signalling for assistance. They provided excellent care along with Norton Stockton Ancient player Erin Green, who's a qualified doctor. and essentially an ambulance was called. It arrived 40 minutes later. Then there was another 20 minutes of treatment on the pitch. And then just before 3:30, they were taken away by ambulance. So kind of an hour delay to that. And nobody's really sure, because I've just read that piece out for you word for word, why they have deemed Doncaster to be at fault for that, and why the game was abandoned. The FAWNL have not helped themselves, because they put the post out. It got a lot of criticism, as you might expect. They then deleted the post and then put the same one out again a day later. And it appeared from the outside looking in as though they deleted it so that all of the quote tweets and the replies would disappear, because they would go to essentially a dead post, and that they'd then be able to post it again and everything would go away. It hasn't done. Everybody has just reposted everything again, and there are seemingly no answers from the FAWNL about exactly what has happened with that, and why the game has been given to Norton, and why Doncaster Rovers Belles were deemed to be at fault. Are we ever going to find out? Probably not. Doncaster have come out as well and said that they strongly refute these allegations and are appealing this decision. So this might not be done yet. But we'll see what happens over the course of the next few weeks. We're going to stick with Doncaster, though, because a few moments after they said that they were going to appeal these, 2 minutes later anyway, they also put another article out saying that they have regretfully accepted the resignation of Amanda Greenslade from her roles as manager and technical director. Now, a couple of people I've seen were wondering if the two were linked. Again, don't know for sure, but my opinion is not, because the resignation article of Amanda Greenslade came out bang on 1 o'clock, which told me that it was scheduled. And then the appeal one came out 2 minutes before, which was obviously something that had been written. But this one, it struck me as being scheduled because it came out bang on 1 o'clock. She is moving on to pursue other opportunities. She was appointed as first team manager last April after being technical director since 2018, overseeing the development of the academy, and as a period of assistant manager. The club are putting on record that they thank Amanda for everything she's contributed during her time with the club and wish her every success in the next chapter of her career. So from one managerial departure to one head coach arrival, MK Dons thrilled to announce the appointment of Fadi Mazloum as their head coach. Now, he joins from the FA following his time at the helm of Luton Town, which MK Dons say give him plenty of experience coaching at this level. He's also good friends with Stephen Healy and has worked closely with the Dons' former manager, allowing for a smooth transition between coaches. He also has experience coaching for Stevenage Women, who MK Dons say are a fellow Tier 4 side. Now, Stevenage haven't actually been in Tier 4 since the end of the 21-22 season, further displaying his expertise at this level of women's football, they say. He joins the team at an important stage of the season as they aim to maintain their current mid-table position and avoid the relegation spots. He's watched the team several times this season and joins with full support of the club to continue on the new and exciting women's setup being built in Milton Keynes. He has said that it's been fantastic to see the growth of the team so far. We want to be pushing this team in the right direction. The girls have gone 5 games unbeaten now. This was put out before the weekend's loss to Actonians. The team are displaying a very positive attitude and will help massively in ensuring we're continuing that positive trajectory started under Stephen Healy. So MK Dons new head coach for them. The club are currently 9th in Division 1 South East, 6 points clear of the relegation zone, actually 7 points clear because of AFC Sudbury's deducted point that, until the appeals process has fully gone through, hasn't been put on the full-time website. So One manager departing from Doncaster and one head coach arriving from MK Dons. Let's then crack on with what we need to get through this week, starting with the results from the leagues. Northern Premier Division then, just 3 games this past week. Because you'll remember a couple of weeks ago, we had the quarterfinals of the Cup and Plate, and half of them got postponed. Then the week after that was the FA Cup, so they couldn't be rescheduled. So they were rescheduled for last weekend, which means a lot of games in the league ended up not happening. But Burnley beating Sporting Cowser by 3-0. Clyde and Mummery Walker, Millie Raveney and Danielle Maxwell with the goals for Burnley. They took full advantage of having that league game. Liverpool Feds 4, Hull City 1. A hat-trick for Chloe Fisher for Liverpool Feds in this one, and 1 for Hannah Butcher. Hope Knight with the only goal for Hull City. And Rugby Borough 2, Loughborough Lightning 0. Sophia Mallon in the 12th minute, Yasmin Mosby in the 27th. So Rugby and Burnley taking advantage of having a game this week and getting themselves 3 points. What it means for the table is Burnley go back top. They're on 35 points from 13 games. Wolves drop down to second on 34 points, but they've only played 12. Rugby Borough with their 3 points are on 29, so they are 5 behind Wolves, but they have played a game more. They are 6 behind Burnley, having played the same number of games. Goal difference about there as well, so Rugby will be fancying themselves perhaps. They can get a win over Burnley. Burnley, of course, have still got to play Wolves. Rugby have still got Wolves again, so there is going to be that big kind of clash there as everyone comes together and they play those really important games towards the back end of the season. The big winners from last week, Liverpool Feds up 3 places to 5th. They're only on 16 points. There is a big gap between the top 3. Stoke kind of in no man's land in the middle on 20, and then Liverpool Feds on 16, up 3 places. West Bromwich Albion down a place, Middlesbrough and Hull City all down a place, but they all have played 1 game less than Liverpool Feds. Derby County in 9th, Halifax 10th, Loughborough Lightning 11th and Sporting Cowser in 12th. Sporting Cowser on 6 points after that defeat to Burnley. They are 5 away from safety with 1 in hand over Halifax. Loughborough Lightning 3 away from safety, but they've played a game more than Halifax and Derby County. Into the Southern Premier Division, a full programme apart from AFC Bournemouth, who are playing in the Cup. So Billericay Town, bad afternoon for them. They lost 9-0 to Plymouth Argyle. 2 for Olivia Francis, 3 for Una Liu after her transfer away, and then 2 Plymouth. Eleanor Noble has 1 as well. Tina Taser with 2 and Katie Wilson with 1 for Plymouth Argyle. Oxford United, they beat Cheltenham Town by 2-0. Emma Thompson in the 48th minute, Maisie Barker in the 87th, sealing that one. Watford, 4-0 winners over AFC Wimbledon. They took advantage of Bournemouth not playing. Eva Gray with 1 just before half-time. There was no goal in there as well. Florence Fife and Freda Aisi with the other goals for Watford, both of them coming off the substitutes bench. 0-0 draw between United and Gwalior United and Lewis. A very late kickoff. It was a 5:30 kickoff, this one. And Lewis winning by 2-1, a late goal as well. Lucy Wood had put Real Bedford in front after 15 minutes. Paula Howells in the 31st minute equalised, and then a 93rd minute Maddie Brandt goal gave Lewis the win. And what that means for the table is that they are up 2 places. AFC Bournemouth no longer even in a playoff spot as it stands. Watford, top of the table, 32 points from 14 games. Plymouth, after that big win over Billericay Town, 30 points from 14 games in second. AFC Bournemouth, 30 points, but crucially only from 12 games in third, down 2 places. Then there's the big gap of 7 points. Oxford United 4th on 23. Real Bedford down a spot, 22 in 5th. Lewis up 2 places to 6th. They're in the top half now on 19. Cheltenham Town, Exeter City both down a couple of places. United and Gwalior both move 1 point further away from the relegation zone. Gwalior now 3 points above AFC Wimbledon. Billericay Town still yet to get off the mark. We only have 8 games to go. It's viable and possible that Billericay Town are relegated by the end of February. There's still 3 games to go, including a double game week coming up in February. Billericay Town may well be relegated by the end of that. Let's go through into Division 1 Midlands and have a look at Tier 4. Should have been a full programme, but there was a postponement. Barnsley Women's 3, Leaford Athletic 5 in what is arguably the game of the day in the FAWNL. 2 for Jemima Jarvis and 1 for Olivia Richardson for Barnsley Women's. Leafield Athletic, 2 for Gemma Fraser, 1 for Evangeline Gallup, who was then sent off with half an hour to go. Gwen Horgan and Leonie Joyce with the other goals for Leafield Athletic, who had 3 inside 25 minutes, then got pegged back to 3-1, then went 4-1 in front by the break. 5-1 in front 5 minutes after the break. And then Jemima Jarvis getting her second, Olivia Richardson then with 1, pulling it back somewhat for Barnsley. But Leaford Athletic with a big 5-3 win. Really important game down towards the bottom, and Kidderminster Harriers got the win over Stourbridge by just a 0-0. Really important one that for Kidderminster Harriers. The 3 points really, really crucial for them. Northampton Town beating Lincoln United by a 0-0. Alexandra Dix in the 86th minute, the only goal of that game. Sheffield against Peterborough United postponed. Sutton Coldfield Town losing to Notts County by 2-0. Neve Hinks and Lily Stevenson with the goals for Notts County, both inside the first 15 minutes there. And Worcester City 1, Boldmere St Michael's 4. A big win for the team at the top of the table. 2 for Janelle Striker, 1 for Laura Cooper, 1 for Grace Gregory. Nia Edwards the only goal for Worcester City. What that means for the league table then, Boldmere St Michael's remain at the top of the table. They are on 36 points from their 14 games. At Peterborough United, 5 points behind them with 3 games in hand in second. So they could quite easily go 4 points in front. Leaford Athletic 3rd, Sheffield 4th, Barnes Women's 5th, Worcester City 6th, all still the same. Notts County up a place to 7th, Sutton Coldfield Town down a place to 8th, Kidderminster Harriers, Northampton Town up 9th and 10th, and then Stourbridge down 2 places in 11th, and they are in the relegation zone now, but only on goal difference. Lincoln United are still bottom of the table. So that 2-0 defeat for Sutton Coldfield Town means they drop a place down to 8th in Division 1 Midlands. They are 4 points clear of the relegation zone. After that game, Harry Rowe caught up with Kevin Moore.
Harry, not to be today, 2-0 loss against Notts County. Come off the back of a good result against Kidderminster Harriers, so certainly confidence is very buoyant in the squad at the moment. Hard-fought game today as well, but Notts County seem to be very, very cute on set pieces. But not much in this game at all today, to be fair, Harry.
No, I think, when you take the set pieces out of the game, it was a very even contest. I thought they probably edged it first half, and don't get me wrong, I thought Neve Jones pulled out 2 or 3 really, really good saves to keep us in the game. But second half, I felt like we came into it. I felt like we started to progress. We started to see more of a Sutton side in terms of the way we wanted to play, the way we wanted to build, and we were getting some form of success, but we conceded 2 really sloppy goals, in my opinion, set pieces, but it weren't a really good routine from Notts County. It was more really disappointing from us, not tracking runners, not clearing the ball in the right areas. And at this level, if you don't track your runners or you don't clear the ball, it makes a really big impact. And like we saw today, they went 2-0 up early, and from that moment onwards looked quite comfortable. They controlled the game quite well. They really slowed it down, and the referee almost let them slow it down a little bit too much, in my opinion. And every throw in, they're moving forward yards and getting put back, and it just they played the game in the right way for them, and they got the result. But for us, disappointing. We didn't show a little bit more maturity than we have in previous weeks. We didn't show a little bit more standards in terms of marking around the box, and we paid the price, unfortunately. But a frustrating day, like you said, off the back of a really good result. You wanted to go and push, and we just weren't at the races today. And fair play to Notts County, they did the job, they scored the goals, but for us it's quite disappointing.
You mentioned about the pace of the game, because it certainly got slowed down quite a lot in the second half, didn't it, really? Is that a pattern you've seen emerge in this league in general, that when a team gets 1 or 2 goals up, they'll deliberately slow things down anyway?
Yeah, I think it's just modern football. I don't think it's this league. I don't think it's women's football. I think it's just modern day football. You want to do everything you can to win the game, and if that involves slowing it down, if that involves what they call the dark arts, then you don't do it. I think it's on the referees and the officials to speed it up, and in my opinion, I don't think there was enough done to speed it up. I don't think there was enough done in terms of cautions, in terms of warnings, and it allowed them to do it, and it meant that as the game got late on and as we were trying to push, it was really easy for them to slow it down. And don't get me wrong, if it's the other way around, I'd be telling my players to do the same. It's not against Notts County, because it's modern day football. I'm all for when you lead in to slow the game down, make it difficult. Of course, you want to win the game. I think it's just frustrating when you're on the receiving end to not have officials take a bit of authority, but I can't blame the officials for the game, because I thought we gave away sloppy goals and we didn't quite ever look like we were going to score. So it's just disappointing. It's frustrating, isn't it?
We'll touch on certain players today I thought made an impact on the game today, Harry. In particular, Neve Jones. I can count at least 3 fantastic saves by Neve, and on a couple of occasions, one against Emily Brett. Now, we know the quality of Emily Brett as a player anyway. We've seen her play at this level for many a season. And on a couple of occasions, Emily Brett's through 1-on-1, but Neve Jones stood her ground and made 2 fantastic saves today, Harry.
Yeah, I thought she was our best player. I thought, 3 or 4 times she got us out of a bit of trouble with a fantastic save. And we speak a lot as a group about moments and about players that find those moments to help their team, to help themselves. And Jones was fantastic today. Like you said, there was a couple of 1v1 saves. There was a few flashes across the box where she got a reaction save too. And I feel like we're starting to get her back to her best. She had a difficult start and a lot of changes in terms of staffing in the background that would have affected Jonesy. But I feel like now she's at a point where she's confident, she knows what we expect, and she's starting to pull off those saves that we know she's capable of. And if she can do that for the rest of the season, then I'm sure she'll pick us up points, and she deserves to be on the team that got points today. I said it to her at the end of the game. She deserved to be a team that won that game, because she was fantastic. Like you just mentioned, 3 or 4 really, really good saves with good value, and on another day she saves us and we don't win the game 2-0 ourselves, and she keeps clean sheet. So all credit to Neve. I thought she was fantastic from start to finish.
Other players I want to mention as well. Tiara Heeman's good to see her back at the club. I know T from many years ago playing at Sutton, and the team she's playing the area as well. But good to see her playing as a number 9. Is that what you think is going to be the best role for her going forward at the club now she's come back to Sutton?
Yeah, I think it's difficult with T to not put her as number 9, because she's such a handful. She almost takes 2 defenders to get the ball off her, and we just need to do a little bit of work of finalising sort of her decision making and her speed of play with the ball. But she hassles, she works, and you can never question T's work rate. You can never question the desire to go and get in the right areas. And like you say, she's a handful. She's difficult to defend against. And as a defender myself, when I was against players like T, I hated it, because she's just, you can't get the ball off her when she's got it, and it makes it a bit difficult. And we saw the bones a bit last week when we had runners in behind and we created lots of chances from it. This week we weren't as clinical with that, but yeah, I think with T and Ria we've got really good strikers that can go and hold the ball up really, really well and keep the ball in those moments. And it gives you an outlet. It gives you someone who's going to hold the ball up, give you time to reset, or give you time to go and push. And T's fantastic. She works really hard, and I'm delighted to have her back with us.
Bria Henry and Eva Cassidy working well today. I can count a number of occasions, certainly in the second half, Eva Cassidy running at players, causing problems. Is that the sort of thing you want Eva to do more in the second half of the season?
Yeah, she did last week. She was fantastic. I mentioned it last week how good Eva was, and we want our forward players being direct. I want them running at players, and it's not just Eva, it's my entire front line. I want them, if they've got a chance, to go and run at defenders, because it's difficult to defend against. It's horrible. So if I can get my players running forwards, if I can get them on the front foot, that's what I want. And we started to see it in the second half, probably not to the full effect that we would have liked, but it's one of those. I've got to have players that are brave. I've got to have forward players that want to get beyond their full back or beyond the centre back to and create problems, because when you've got that, it creates chances, and then when you create chances, you're going to score goals, you're going to get in the right areas. And we probably do it enough today, but it's something that we want to try and do, and I want them to be brave and go forwards.
On the horizon, Harry, we'll talk about the league situation in a bit more detail in a moment, but on the horizon, some interesting games on the horizon for Sutton anyway. You've got Peterborough United, the Sutton derby against Barnet, and Northampton Town. So those 3 clubs there have all got sort of particular things they want to get out by the end of the next 4 to 5 weeks. We know what Peterborough's ambitions are this season. Barnet are in that sort of chasing pack of clubs who want to contest them for the title as well. A Sutton derby is always a local derby. It's got its own sort of spice to it. We know that. We both know it from personal experience, don't we? But Northampton Town as well. So I spoke to other managers, and in previous seasons there's been almost like a split where like a 3 or 4 that sort of are the 3 or 4 for the entire season, and the rest are sort of make the numbers up. Would it be fair to say it's almost like 3 divisions now in this division?
This division is mental. Like, I've been at this level for 5 years now, I think, 4 or 5 years, and it's normally been a lot clearer. Normally by now time, you know, there's one team that's normally dead and buried. There's normally one team or 2 teams that are fighting to stay in the league, and then it's normally a front 2 race, and everybody else is sort of just in the middle. Whereas I still think there's 6 teams that can go down. I still think there's 3 teams that can win it. And you're seeing it all the time, but teams will take points off anyone. Like, there is the competition for places, the competition for results is massive. You mentioned there about, you know, Peterborough, Bolton, Northampton. Northampton a completely different outfit this time around. New manager, new cohort, a much younger squad. Bolton, we played them, ran them really, really close and got, in my opinion, not what we deserved from that game. And then Peterborough are, you know, they're a good side and we know their ambitions, they're unbeaten at the minute, but they haven't, in my opinion, been tested enough, and maybe because they've had a lot of games cancelled, so they've got a lot of games they've got to catch up with. So every team's different challenge, and every team provides a different threat. And what I'm starting to notice this season is there is always one result you go in, didn't expect that. There's always one where you go in, that shocked me today, and it's brilliant for the neutral, for you guys as presenters. I'm sure you love it because there's so much to talk about, but for me as a manager, it's not quite as entertaining. But it's great for women's football. It shows the competitive nature of this league, and we're not safe yet. I've told the girls that. Notts County might be not safe yet. We're in a better position than some, but with how ever-changing this league is, there's still 3 or 4 really, really important games from now in the season, and those are big games for every club involved. So it's going to be interesting. It could go down to the final day. You know, we play Kidderminster for the final day. That could end up to be a massive game. There's so much riding on these games, but it's like you said, this league is very different to previous years, and I mean, it's a good thing, but it certainly makes it a lot harder to try and gain momentum and a lot harder to try and get those results.
Defeat then for Sutton Coldfield Town, but on the other side of that fixture, it means Notts County up to 7th, 16 points for them. They are leading that bottom half of the table, which are all seemingly fighting to not be the team that finishes in 11th. Adam Dunleavy is their head coach, and he spoke to Kevin Moore after those 3 points from the 2-0 win.
Adam, congratulations. 2-0 victory today against Sutton Coldfield Town. Very professional performance for your team was from start to finish. We'll talk about the goals in a moment, actually, but you knew playing a Sutton side who have been G'd up with confidence after their victory the previous week against Kidderminster Harriers. But do you think your game plan from start to finish was how you wanted to execute your squad this afternoon anyway, Adam?
Yeah, I think so. Like, we spoke a lot in the build-up to the game that, you know, Sutton are a really good team, full of decent players, and they've strengthened and also continued to improve. So we knew it would be a very different team from the team we played at the start of the season, where we felt we'd won comfortably. So we wanted to make sure we weren't complacent. That being said, we really trust the players that we've got in the group and know that when we play the way we want to play, that we can have a good go at anybody in this league. So we came full of confidence, and I thought, especially in the first half, we were outstanding and played exactly with the intensity and tempo and sort of threat that we know we can.
Of course, Emily Brett causing problems as well. I mean, their goalkeeper Neve Jones made a number of really quality saves this afternoon. It could have been a higher scoreline, couldn't it, really?
Yeah, for sure. I think, we're sort of scratching our heads that we weren't further ahead at the half-time whistle. I thought we created some really, really good chances. We had loads of box entries. I thought their keeper was superb. She made some really great saves in the first half and the second half, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, she was outstanding. But, we were really pleased with the amount of high-quality chances we created today.
First goal scored with Neve Hinks getting on the score sheet, and then Lily Stevenson just a few minutes later as well. So 2 well-worked set pieces causing the Sutton backline problems. Was that a weakness you spoke about during the course of the week in preparation for this game anyway?
I don't think it was necessarily so much a Sutton weakness as much as we feel we can be really strong from set pieces.
One of your strengths as a squad?
Yeah, for sure. We've got, Lou's got a fantastic delivery, and Evie when she's sort of fit and available as well. So we know we can get good deliveries into the box, and then we just work on those movements, making sure players can get in front of the defenders and get across defenders and make things difficult. And I thought the second one in specific was fantastic, just for the way that Neve took the ball down under composure in a really congested box and laid it off for Lils to finish. And the finish was difficult, by the way. She had to find a really tight angle. So really pleased with that, good composure in a high pressure moment, and really pleased.
Eloise Hembrow had some good chances as well, and you've got a very strong midfield, I think, Adam, this season compared to last season. I know we spoke a few times the last few seasons, but you always feel like you're looking at those little step-by-step process to keep on building and improving your squad. But I think your midfield looks really strong this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think they're firing on all cylinders at the minute. I think Neve and Lil's last couple of games have been like right at the height of their form, and they're so good when they're on it. Lil's was superb today. She broke the game up excellently for us. Neve's got that quality on the ball and connects us so well, and then Annie's that sort of confident discipline in behind, who's got bags of experience in the game and organises us really well. So, and then on top of that, we've got really good depth this season. I think, as you said, we always want to make sure we're progressing as a team. Ironically, we're probably lower in the league than we were last season, but we've conceded way less goals, scored more goals. And we feel with all the other metrics bar results, we're a far better team than we were last year. It's probably a testament to the strength of the league this season.
Yeah, it is a stronger tier 4, isn't it? I mean, but going back to your squad for a moment, actually, Adam, before we look at forthcoming games, it must be a nice luxury when you can bring on players like Leah Hardy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Liz just missed a bit of training this week, and she started against Posh and was outstanding. We were without the ball a lot against Peterborough, and we had to be really disciplined. And Leah ran her socks off. She always works so hard for the team, and she's got moments of magic in her that not many players at this level have got. So, the ability to have her come off the bench, let alone obviously usually starting, is a massive asset for us as a football club. And yeah, she's a great player and a superb character to have around the dressing room.
Looking at then on the horizon, interesting series of games on the horizon for the club as well. You've got Kidderminster Harriers back at Coronation Park on the 8th of February, Lincoln United, and then Worcester City away at Six Ways. Now, if you look at that run of 3 games, I know you're not probably thinking any sort of points total or anything like that though, because you've got the 3 points here this afternoon against Sutton. This could really kickstart almost like a month of good form for the club, couldn't it really?
Yeah, listen, we're always hopeful. Like I said, we feel on our day we can take anybody on in this league, and at the same time everybody can beat everyone in this league. So it was really important today that we got a win. We feel we've been working incredibly hard in training, and the girls have been working hard and perhaps not getting the just rewards at the weekend for that hard work, and that's football. Sometimes you come up against teams that are either better on the day or are just better teams, and that's okay. So to get the 3 points after hard work is great, and then it sets us up nicely for a run of games where it's going to be incredibly competitive. This league always is every week, but like I say, we believe we can get points at home and on the road, so we'll be looking to do that as best as possible over the coming fixtures.
And also with the fact there's no sort of like the week-to-week added pressure of any cup ties to contend with as well. You can sort of focus on the league now. But going back to start of the season with all those National League Cup group matches taking place, looking back at those early part of the season now compared to now, Adam, do you think in hindsight that's helped the fitness levels of the players over it's going to be a long season anyway?
Yeah, I think so. Like we're always speaking, it's funny, in the men's game you've got like maybe 46 games a season in the league
on average,
cup games, so you've got plenty of opportunities. It's a big thing in the National League where we're looking to progress and develop younger players. The extra games in the Cup gave us opportunities to get reserve players connected, to get some of our younger players minutes, which is so valuable and so hard to do at times in the league when you've got tough fixtures. Served its purpose for that, absolutely. And then, I think we're a fitter team this year. We've got Matty in, our physical performance coach, and he's been a massive asset to us. He's helped take on the fitness levels and help support the girls with their fitness sort of in and around football, but also away from it. And I think we're seeing the rewards of that in terms of our intensity across 90 minutes now.
Yes, Adam Dunleavy there speaking to Kevin Moore. 3 leagues down, 3 to go here on the Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio. We'll be right back after this. This is the Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio. Moving into Division 1 North then. Still 3 leagues to go through in terms of the results. Then we've got a whole host of competitions to look at this weekend. Just 2 games in the end in Division 1 North. Again, another league where teams were stuck going and finishing off their cup quarterfinals, had a big impact on the league, and then the big game towards the top of Leeds United against Wythenshawe ended up getting postponed. York City beat Chester Street Town by a goal to nil. Katie Astle in the 68th minute, the goal in that game, and Stockport County 4-0 winners over Blackburn Rovers. 2 for Emily Bradshaw, 1 for Olivia Wilson, and then an own goal in there as well for Blackburn means Stockport run out 4-0 winners. What it means for the league table, not a huge amount really. York City gain 3 points and they go 4 clear of the relegation zone in Division 1 North. They have only just hit though their halfway point of the season. Doncaster Rovers Belles have got 10 games to go, and they are 4 points away from there. Norton and Stockton Ancient, the 3 points that they got from that game, again, it could go backwards because of the appeal, but it puts them in 6th going into this weekend's fixtures. But the only movement from last weekend, Stockport County up 2 places to 3rd in the table. They are now a point off the top, although they have played more games than anybody else. They're a point behind Leeds United, and Leeds have got 3 games in hand. They're only 2 points ahead of Cheadle Stingers, who have got 3 games in hand. They're level with Wythenshawe, who have got 2 in hand, and they're 1 behind Huddersfield, who have got 2 in hand. So you would expect that by the time that the other teams catch up, Stockport County will be back down mid-table and probably too far adrift. But of course, with those teams all kind of having to play each other, still a lot could happen towards the top of Division 1 North. Division 1 South East, then there was a full programme here. Actonians beating MK Dons by a 1-0 thanks to Catherine Turner 18 minutes from time. Cambridge United beating AFC Sudbury 3-0. Isabel Beeson 19th minute, then 2 right towards the end. Samantha Edgar 85th, Mia Richards 89th. Queen's Park Rangers beating Chesham United by 5-0. Lauren Amerina, Jessica Cooper, Isabella Owen, Grace Stanley, Anna Diziak. So 5 different scorers for Queen's Park Rangers. And then 2 really, what would on their own have been potentially significant results towards the top of the table, end up cancelling each other out. Fulham only getting a draw at home with Dulwich Hamlet 2-2. That included an 85th minute equaliser for Fulham after they'd taken the lead for Rebecca Stormer. Dulwich Hamlet answered back, Esme Johnson and Ria Gow, before Ellie Olds in the 85th minute equalised for Fulham. Now, significant on its own, but at the same time, Norwich City only able to get a 1-1 draw away at Luton Town. Cheyenne Suarez with the goal for Luton, Faith Harrison with the one for Norwich City. Did mean that there was a small opportunity for the sides 3rd and 4th to take advantage, and Chatham Town the ones that did, with a dominant victory over London Bees by 6-1. Kiara Hines 2 for Lottie Sharp, 2 for Otesha Charles, 1 for Summer Louise Whiffin for Chatham Town. Millie Isherwood in the 54th minute, the only goal for London Bees. What that means for the table is that Fulham and Norwich, they stay the top 2 on 35 points and 34 points respectively from 13 games. London Bees, though, 14 games played, 26 points. Chatham Town got the win. They moved to 22. They've got 2 games in hand on London Bees. They can overtake them. They've got 1 in hand on Norwich and Fulham. Even if they win that game in hand, they're still going to be 9 and 10 points behind 2nd and 1st. It still feels as though it's too much with so few games to go, but who knows what's going to happen really between now and the end of the season. Queen's Park Rangers with their victory remain 5th. Actonians with their victory remain 6th. Cambridge United with their victory remain 7th. Luton Town with the draw puts them up 1 place to 8th, and they've got 3 games in hand on Milton Keynes Dons, who dropped down to 9th. Dulwich Hamlet with their point moves them 1 further away from the relegation zone, and AFC Sudbury lost and obviously has had that point deducted subject to appeal, which means that their gap as it stands at the moment is 6 points from safety. Division 1 South West then, just to finish off the league action. Now, Abingdon United against Moneyfields was postponed, so Moneyfields lost the opportunity to pull further away from Swindon Town. But Bristol Rovers with the biggest win of the day, 10-0 over Worthing. 3 players with hat-tricks in this game. Chloe Bassett with 1, Chloe Snook with 1, and Amelia Gould with 1 as well. Charlotte Buxton, the other player, to grab a goal for Bristol Rovers, but a rout of Worthing at home for Rovers. 7-goal thriller between Keynsham Town and Bournemouth Sports. Keynsham Town coming out on the right side of it, despite Bournemouth Sports really getting 2 goals very early on. 10th minute and 14th minute, they were 2-0 up by a quarter of an hour. Abigail Todd getting 1 back for Keynsham Town right before the half-time whistle. They then pulled level through Todd again on 57. Then Bournemouth went back in front again on 69. line. Rosie Eden with her second of the game to put them 3-2 in front. And Harriet Beman equalised for Keynsham Town with 15 minutes to go, 3-3. And then the super sub off the bench, Irene Aguado, in the 90th minute, put Keynsham Town in front for the first time in the game, and they take all 3 points, winning by 4-3. At Bridgewater United, they beat Maidenhead United by 3-1. 2 for Megan Jarvis, 1 for Zoe Watkins for Bridgewater United, 1 for Isabella Stockton for Maidenhead. Ascot United, really big win for them towards the bottom of the table. They beat Portishead Town by 4-1. Isabel Cox, Anasia Harney, Hattie Kettle and Daniela Diaz with the goals for Ascot. Portishead Town, Adele Brown, the only goal of the game. Then 2 days later on Tuesday night, Ascot United back in action again, and they beat the other team in the relegation zone, Worthing, by 5-1. Kate Fox, Anasia Harney, Hattie Kettle and 2 for Poppy Dearlove for Ascot that time around. And then on Thursday night, Swindon Town beating Bridgewater United by 3-0 in the first of their 3 games in hand against Moneyfields, and they get goals from Libby Davis, Annabelle Colston and Lacey J. Liggett. What that means for the Southwest table, Moneyfields remain top, but they're now just 1 point ahead of Swindon Town, and Swindon have 2 games in hand. Bristol Rovers remain third. They are there just in case anyone slips up, hoping to get into that playoff spot. They're on 28. Bridgewater United then 5 behind them in 4th on 23. Abingdon United in 5th on 20. Ascot United, the big movers from the week, they are up 2 places into 8th in Division 1 Southwest after beating both of the sides towards the bottom, in the relegation zone. So they have gone from 9 points and being 2 clear of the drop to 15 points and 8 clear. Really significant week for Ascot United. Marine Academy Plymouth dropped to 9th, Keynsham Town dropped to 10th, but now with just 8 games and 7 games to go for Portishead Town and Worthing respectively, they find themselves 6 points away from safety, and in Worthing's case it might as well be 7 because of that vastly inferior goal difference. Let's finish off looking at the results then by having a look at the Cup and the Plate quarter-finals, the 2 in each competition that were postponed from a few weeks ago. A good day for the home sides in the Plate because Cheadle Stingers beat Durham Sestra by 2-0. Kenzie Bentley and Lily Weston with the goals for them, and Halifax of Tier 3 beating Chorley of Tier 4 by 4-1. Braces each for Phoebe Hollin and Megan Shaw for Halifax. 1 goal for Chorley, Leah Embley, 5 minutes from time with a consolation for them. Well, I say consolation, I mean that made it 3-1. They had maybe a little bit of hope before Phoebe Holling got her second with the final minute of the game. Into the Cup then, and a big shock. West Bromwich Albion beating Wolverhampton Wanderers by 1-0 and putting themselves through into the last 4. I think pretty much everybody suspected that Wolves would be going through to the semi-finals, and in the other game it was Swindon Town 0, AFC Bournemouth 3. The other away side won in the Cup, so 2 away wins in the Cup, 2 home wins in the Plate. Sophie Quirk 8th and 59th minute, and Kelsey Bowers with one in the 50th for Bournemouth. That means the semi-finals. Cheadle Stingers against Halifax, Moneyfields take on Gwalia United. It's West Bromwich Albion against Plymouth Argyle, and Burnley against AFC Bournemouth. Still all of the fixtures to look at on the Women's Football Chat here on Switch Radio before Andrew Richards takes over with his Alternative 80s show at 6 o'clock. We'll be right back. This is the Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio. Let's go and have a look at the fixtures before we leave you at 6 o'clock for the Alternative 80s show. Now, this is another make-up week coming up this weekend, so not a huge amount of fixtures, just 2 in the Northern Premier Division. Rugby Borough against Middlesbrough, that's 3rd against 7th, and Sporting Cowser take on Hull City, 12th against 8th. So Rugby Borough will definitely want to get a win on this game, get themselves within just a few points of Burnley and Wolves, and perhaps just make them look over their shoulder ever so slightly. Sporting Cowser, opportunity to move off the bottom of the table if they win at home to Hull. Hull themselves would go up 3 places with a win, providing of course Middlesbrough don't beat Rugby Borough, and get themselves up into 5th. 17 points with either 9 or 8 being the marker. That may be enough for Hull City, you reckon, to get themselves safe for another season. In the Southern Premier Division, there is just 1 game. Lewes against Exeter City. That is 6th against 8th. 2 teams very much in mid-table. Neither side can really climb too much. Lewes would go level with Real Bedford in 5th on 22 points, but their goal difference would mean they stay where they are. Exeter City, this is one of their games in hand. They'll definitely want to make the most out of it. A win would put them 9 clear of the relegation zone, and they'd still have a game in hand. That would probably be enough for Exeter, you reckon, with just 8 games to go for AFC Wimbledon and Billericay Town. So could be a really important game in the Southern Premier Division. In Division 1 Midlands, there's just 3 games to talk about. Lincoln United against Peterborough United, 12th against 2nd. Peterborough United, this is one of their 3 games in hand over Boldmere St Michael's. They are 5 points behind them. They will definitely, of course, want to get the win in this game. They have the opportunity, were they to win all 3 of their games in hand, to move 4 points clear. If they drop points away at Lincoln United, you wouldn't expect that they would, but if they do, then all of a sudden that becomes just like maybe a 1 point lead, or maybe not a lead at all, and then the situation has changed significantly for those 2 sides. Leafield Athletic are away at Sheffield, that is 3rd against 4th. Big game as well towards the top. Sheffield probably too far behind Boldmere St Michael's already. It's a 13-point gap. Yes, Sheffield have got 2 games in hand, but they are 8 points behind Peterborough, and Peterborough have got a game in hand on them. So it's going to be a tall order for them. Leaford Athletic have got an outside hope. Perhaps it's better for them to look at trying to get into that playoff spot and take on whoever finishes 2nd in that crazy Division 1 North table. The other game, another really important one towards the bottom, Northampton Town against Kidderminster Harriers. Northampton Town in 10th, Kidderminster Harriers in 9th, 11 points and 12 points respectively. Both of those sides will be desperate to get themselves further away from the drop. Unless Kidderminster win big, Northampton Town, because Stourbridge aren't playing, won't drop into the relegation zone, but it's just 1 more game ticking away while teams nervously look over their shoulders. Division 1 North, there's actually 4 games going on in Division 1 North. Blackburn Rovers against Durham Sestria. Blackburn down in 12th, Durham Sestria in 8th. Leeds United against Chester Street Town, 2nd against 9th. Norton Stockton Ancients against Wythenshawe, that is 6th against 4th. Wythenshawe, of course, one of those sides that anything could happen between now and the end of the season with regards to all of the games in hand that they've got and how close the top of that table is. 1 point separating the top 4 at the moment. York City against Doncaster Rovers Belles, massive game at the bottom. York City, if they win that game, will go 7 points clear of the drop. Doncaster Rovers Belles will then be at least 6 points away from safety with 9 games to go. It begins to get to be a little bit of a tall order, you would think. They've got 6 points from their first 12. They will need a much better turnaround in the second half of the season if they want to pull that back and keep themselves alive in the FA Women's National League. South East, Cambridge United against Chatham Town. That is 7th against 4th. 4th. Chesham United against Dulwich Hamlet 12th against 10th. Dulwich Hamlet, good opportunity for them. They could climb a couple of places this weekend and put themselves 9 points clear of the relegation zone. Chesham United are 10 away from safety at the moment. If that increases, and it would increase to at least 11 depending on what happens elsewhere, sorry, it would be 11 if they lose to Dulwich Hamlet with 8 games to go. That is a lot. To gain essentially 4 wins in the last 8 games will be a tall order for Chesham United. Luton Town, they are in 8th. They took on AFC Sudbury, who are in 11th. So again, 2 really important games down towards the bottom. If Chesham United and AFC Sudbury both lose, then for both of them to get out, you'd be looking at 9 points for Sudbury because Dulwich Hamlet would move to 14. So MK Dons would drop into 10th spot on 12, and then 9th spot would be on 14, and then AFC Sudbury and Chesham United on 5 and 1. It does look very difficult for them to start to claw that back. No game for Fulham this weekend. Norwich City take on Queen's Park Rangers, 2nd against 5th. Norwich City with a win would go back top of Division 1 South East. Just 3 fixtures in Division 1 South West for this weekend. Swindon Town have the chance to go back top of the table. Moneyfield's not in action. They are playing in the Cup semi-final. Swindon Town, though, away at Maidenhead United in 6th. So Swindon could go back top if they win and keep their 100% record going in the league. Bristol Rovers against Bridgewater United, 3rd against 4th. If Bristol Rovers can win that game, then that would pretty much eliminate any slim hope that Bridgewater United have of getting into that playoff spot. Realistically, Bristol Rovers, if they don't win, it probably gets rid of the chance for them as well, given the games that are still to come. So really big game towards the top, and another really big game towards the bottom. Ascot United now in 8th at home to Marine Academy Plymouth, who are in 9th. If Ascot United can win that game, then in the space of a week, they've beaten 12th, 11th and 9th, and they would put themselves on 18 points. With Portishead and Worthing neither playing, that would put them 11 points clear of safety. They started the week 2 clear. They would then be 11 clear of safety. That would be them in Division 1 Southwest for another season. I'm almost certain of it. So it could be a really significant week for Ascot United, but just 3 games in Division 1 Southwest. And we've just got time to talk to you about the semi-finals for the Cup and Plate competitions, which are taking place this weekend. West Bromwich Albion against AFC Bournemouth, and Plymouth Argyle against Burnley in the Cup. And in the Plate, Cheadletown Stingers against Halifax and Moneyfields against Gwalior United. I mean, the difficult ones in the Cup, I mean, Plymouth against Burnley is going to be, I think, a cracker of a game. Plymouth have got to this stage before. They lost to Forest a couple of years ago in the Cup. West Brom against Bournemouth. Bournemouth very strong in the Southern Premier Division at the moment. They've got the best points per game average. But West Brom have just knocked out Wolves last weekend. They're going to be full of confidence at West Brom. In the Plate, Cheadletown Stingers, yes, they're doing well in Division 1 North, but Halifax are in the Northern Premier Division. We've seen there is just one place between Cheadletown Stingers and Chorley, and Halifax have just beaten Chorley 4-1. Does that mean Halifax are going to find their way through into the final? Moneyfields against Gwalior United is another fascinating one, because you've got Moneyfields who are at the top of the Division 1 Southwest, Gwalior United who are struggling towards the bottom of the Southern Premier Division, but they are a tier higher. How's that one going to play out? It's not a massively long journey for them either, not like Burnley going down to Plymouth. So they're going to be really interesting to look at over the course of the weekend. But there is a lot that can happen over the course of the weekend. And of course, whatever happens, we'll be back next week to bring you all of the very latest from the 3rd and 4th tiers of women's football here in England, the FA Women's National League. All of the news, will anything more come out about that decision between Doncaster Rovers Belles and Norton and Stockton Ancients? What will happen in the Cup semi-finals, and will anybody pull themselves away from the relegation zone across the leagues? Whatever happens, we'll be back next week to take you through all of it. But here on Switch Radio, Andrew Richards is with you with his Alternative 80s show after the news at 6.